What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Steam Zone. We're coming back. We are coming at you from Brooklyn. Let's check in with Ben.
They told me our intros aren't exciting enough, so how about this for a cold open? It's not raining. We're not training. Come on, let's go.
Oh my gosh, it is insane out here. I think we're gonna tell Ben to turn around and we're gonna get him back home somewhere safe. It is flooding. Something exploded outside my window. And there he is, the man himself. Ben made it home. He dried off. He changed into that signature sleeveless tank. How we doing, brother?
Ready to rock. Let's go. What do we got queued up today?
Full send on the Steam Zone, baby. Let's start it off. So Ben, I don't know if you saw the news. Our friends down under are headed to space.
Whoa.
This is what happened. Australia, heading to space. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, that is not good.
No.
Oh, we got another angle. All right, let's check this one. Maybe they got closer than we thought. We're going sideways.
Okay.
That's not right. Oh no. So Ben, Australia, in their first attempt to reach space, not quite.
Yeah, you got to give them credit though. They're out here trying. Let's make fun of them. It's fun. They're our allies, and we should give them a good making fun of. But ultimately, hey, we know Elon's crashed rockets. That's what you have to do to succeed. You got to crash some rockets. What did Thomas Edison say? I found 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. So that's one way not to go to space.
I like that. We are big supporters of the Thunder Down Under. They'll be back. What is it? I mean, the Australians trying to go to space, I think, is the real story here, which is a major investment from an ally in the space industry. Why do we think this is going on now?
I mean, the world is changing, right? First of all, like the importance of satellites and the power that satellites, that I think Elon, that SpaceX, that, Starlink has demonstrated, makes it an imperative for a country that wants to have sovereignty on its own to have a space program. So I think that's part of it. And technology is getting better.
Yeah, Elon was upset last week. I don't know if you saw that, about too many companies trying to go to space.
Well, I'm an abundance guy on space. Let's send them all to space. We'll meet up there and have a party.
Thank you, Australia, Elon. Awesome. Good stuff. On to the next topic. Ben, it was big AI week last week in the US. I want to come back to AI for a second. I saw a quote that caught my attention this week. Tell me who you think said this. Countries have great differences, particularly in terms of areas such as regulatory concepts, institutional values. We should strengthen coordination to form a global AI governance framework that has broad consensus as soon as possible. Who do you think said that quote?
Someone from the UN? I don't know.
Sounds maybe UN, maybe Western values, international coordination, cooperation. Wrong, my friend. That is President Xi Jinping of China this week with that statement as China released their AI action plan.
Wow.
They're going a little populist on us, man. I don't know if you saw this. They basically are saying resources and capabilities are concentrated in few countries, too few countries. China wants AI to be shared openly with all countries. Ben, this is what we call a wolf in sheep's clothing, okay? This is absolute bunk. This is what you do when, first of all, let's be very clear. AI is concentrated. Development is concentrated in very few countries. Those countries are the United States of America and the People's Republic of China, almost exclusively. There's others playing, but not on our level.
Yeah, don't forget Mistral, right? In France.
I was waiting for you to bring that up. We love the French. We'll come back to them later. Of course China wants their models. They want their values, the stuff trained on their data sets to be exported to their satellites around the world. This is an arm race between two countries. If they can get their chips and more supplies elsewhere, of course they want to do that. What do you think about this take from President Xi?
I mean, I could care less, right? This is marketing BS. We're doing it. They're doing it. Who cares? Newsflash, the Mets are selling tickets to tomorrow night's game. We don't need a press release Tell me when someone allocates money. Tell me when somebody builds something. What's the newest model and what does DeepSeek have going on? What does OpenAI have going on? Otherwise, this is all talk and we should just ignore it.
Ben will not be attending this year's AI Expo in the global south or whatever China wants to call it. Look, you get why they got to clap back at what we said, but I'm with you. I think this one is we can file safely in baloney land. Let's close that thing out.
Noah, have you heard about Y Combinator's new topic release? 2025 fall. Fresh off the press.
What do we got, buddy?
Well, Y Combinator is going to solve all of DoD's problems, solve government consulting bloat. They have the answer. They're calling for new startups. Check out this video.
The US government spends hundreds of billions of dollars a year on consulting. As you might imagine, this isn't the most efficient or innovative part of our economy. But the last couple of years, we believe that there are a few big reasons that this will change. Most importantly, today there is political pressure to cut wasteful consulting and spending. Every part of the government now runs on software. This software is usually custom built by companies like Deloitte or Accenture. And anyone who've used this software know that we can do a lot better. Finally, today, LLMs are so good, they can already do a lot of the jobs that these consulting firms do for the government. We've recently funded companies who help startups get approved to sell to the government. This is called FedRAMP. We've also recently funded companies who help the government cut regulation and use LLMs to make sure that the laws and policies coming out of the government are actually legal. We think there's a lot more work the government consulting firms can do, and we want to fund startups who build LLM software to do that work.
Wow, did he use an LLM to generate that speech? Because insert some buzzwords, maybe ask it to look at current events and things that are coming out of the DoD. This is a little ridiculous. I mean, come on. Y Combinator doesn't have a fundamental understanding of why people hire consultants. This is like the first year in college saying, I know why. I'm going to create an LLM to remove McKinsey, Bain, BCG. Come on. We know that stakeholder management matters, right? Human interaction matters. Like, consulting companies are what they are, not just because it's a technical problem they're solving. It is a people problem. And misunderstanding that means that it's just like the most cliche version of a tech pro I can imagine.
Look, I don't disagree with you, man. I think this is the line that stood out to me is authorized to sell to the government. This is FedRAMP. It's just like, if you Google sell to the federal government and look at the list, we found one. This is called FedRAMP. Look, I've been a big believer for a long time that getting more people into the space is a good thing. You want great technical talent coming out of universities to be excited about the problem sets that the federal government bring to the table. I still think that's a good thing. We want people to work in these companies. We want people to build companies. We want people, hopefully, to work in some of these positions to understand the problems that they're hoping to solve. All of that is great. What is, I think, part of a broader trend that we are seeing is people, offering advice, guidance, mentorship, and direction who actually have no idea what they're talking about. You could spend about a minute on a LinkedIn, certainly on my LinkedIn feed this week. Ben, I was this close. I texted some friends today. I was like, I'm getting ready to hang up the cleats, man. I don't know what we're doing. Like, there's no room. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm hollering into the void. You need somebody who... You're out there trying to figure out ways to be helpful to others. We've got a ton of shameless self-promotion. We got the B2B SaaS bro who's selling you lead gen software on Monday, telling you he analyzed 302 OTAs from the Defense Innovation Unit on Tuesday, and he knows exactly how it all happens.
Comment playbook, and I'll DM it to you in your inbox.
Yeah, if you comment playbook, you also get $100 million IDIQ. I mean, this is getting to be banana land. Our friend, friend of the show, John Ferry, had an interesting take on this. To your point, why does the government hire consultants? It's not just for the expertise in an LLM. It's what we affectionately in the industry would say, a throat to choke or credibility on the line. What's the old saying, Ben? Nobody gets fired for hiring McKinsey. There is I think you're absolutely right, a change management part of this. You could argue they're not great at their jobs, but we will see. Just like today, I saw the first AI ad agency that raised millions of dollars to be an AI ad agency. They're pivoting to being, guess what? an ad agency that maybe uses some AI with their services for a perk. I think we're going to see a lot of this, at least for the time being, in the government world because
we're rebranding the podcast to be an AI first podcast, right?
This is the I don't know, the genius intelligence zone. What are we calling this thing?
That's a throwback to last week for the OG listeners. Well, let's just look at the budget, right, for next year, or big beautiful bill, or fiscal year 26 drafts are out now. Are we seeing huge changes in the DoD budget of where they're spending money on consultants? No. So before I go into the attack with the Y Combinator bros, I'd check out and see if the DoD budget is going to shift in a way these people think. I mean, let's be honest. Let's spend some time going through the Y Combinator founder partners page.
Well, what's your point? I
really want to make a point.
What is your point here?
I would really like to be careful about who you give your money and who you take advice from. Now, listen, if I was building a B2B SaaS or a B2C company, holy shit, could I learn from some of these guys, right? These are excellent entrepreneurs, and it is no shade against their entrepreneurial past, but I think they have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to government sales. Let's go through everybody here, right? Gary Tan, great Twitter personality. Yeah, he worked at Palantir for 2 years, 2005, 2007, and was an engineering manager, not on the customer side. I don't think Gary knows how to sell to the federal government. Well,
he's bringing some spice. We got some spice this week. It's coming from
4.5 years at Airbnb, right? Product lead on the growth team. Yeah, I don't know how much there or at Voxer he was selling to the federal government. And we can go through again and again. Tom, okay, from the UK, not going to help with the federal DoD. We've got Tyler, Clever. Clever seems like a great company. Hey, if I was selling to departments of education across all 50 states, I would absolutely want Tyler on my cap table. Federal government, DoD sales? Nope. We've got the AdSense Google campaign guy here, Paul. Seems awesome. Great product. Creator of Gmail. That is fucking cool. Not helpful for DoD sales. We've got tons and tons of amazing founders. And as I scroll through, I'm not seeing a single one that has had a real successful sale here to the government in any sort of impactful way. So I would be careful before you go respond to the YC call and take their money. I'm not saying don't. Think about it, but just be careful about who your advisors are.
Wow. Ben is spitting flames this week. All right, I got two things for you. One, maybe the message is, hey, YC, welcome to the party. We'd love to have you here. Maybe you need to bring on a partner with that specific experience, because federal sales it's not just product, right? It's build something people want. Great. Does that translate directly to DoD? Maybe, but you got to know how to navigate those systems. The second thing is, I think what YC would argue, those who've been through it, and there are some companies, many founders who build in the defense space who've been through YC, they're teaching a process. They're teaching the customer discovery method. They're teaching this kind of iterative prototyping mechanism, which is fundamentally based on getting outside of, not building in kind of secret for 10 weeks and then coming out. It's constantly iterating with customers. That's really freaking hard to do with government customers, but it is really important. So I think they would sell, Ben, their pushback on you would be, hey, we're selling and we're teaching a method more than we're selling our partners. What do you think? You buy that or no?
Again, YC has a lot of great videos. Is that worth the equity cost, right? I'm not going to make that calculation for you. We did some VC math last week. Maybe next week we'll do some founder math and think about how dilution works. But just be careful with who you give. Equity is such a prized resource. Don't just give that away to learn something you can get on YouTube for free. Would be my take.
Ben is saying thanks but no thanks to Y Combinator this week. Speaking of markets, interesting markets that are getting some play in the defense world, I want to talk about Europe, Ben. We're seeing, we're about to move into festival season. I almost called it festival season. Conference season, symposia season. We got Tectonic in Europe. We got DSEI coming up in London.
Does that mean Steam Zone gets to go to Europe?
We're not spoiling any surprises just yet. The 5% NATO commitment, 3.5% for defense, 1.5% for infrastructure and borders and national sovereignty. Important investments. Ben, is Europe a credible market for defense tech right now?
Well, once they host our podcast in Europe, they'll definitely be a credible market. But until then, yeah, I think they're making the right moves. I think the U.S. spent 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan, and probably defense spending in Europe seemed, and some of Europe obviously participated in that. And we appreciate their support. But the defense didn't seem like a top of mind important issue for Europe. And I think now with Ukraine, Russia being on their doorstep, the doorstep of Europe, I think Europe credibly is taking a look in the mirror and say, okay, we got to be serious, right? Like this stuff is real. This is not some adventure over there. This is really in our backyard.
It certainly seems credible. It seems like they're making many of the right moves. We're hearing rumblings out, especially Eastern Europe, Poland, a lot of interest, obviously for obvious historical reasons, a lot of concern there. Then let's talk about NATO as a potential customer. This week there was an interesting article in War on the Rocks and Cogs of War talking about the effort to what they called supercharge Europe's innovation ecosystem, and they give some time to the NATO's Rapid Adoption Action Plan and the NATO Innovation Fund. And I think what's interesting about this is thinking about how, from an industry perspective, if you're building or you're looking for early customers, how you think about interacting with NATO. Because I went and did some research on this. I wanted to find are there examples of technologies that have been incubated through early investment from NATO and then transitioned to member countries? Because naturally, I think NATO is an abstraction layer from the countries, from the member states. It's hard to get, you would think that is one direction. By the way, the U.S. hasn't even bought in to the Innovation Fund yet, which is the biggest market in NATO, right? So what are we seeing? More often than not, the flow does look to be country first and then NATO. So there's some examples. There's some companies like Arcex Robotics and Tekever, which were battle tested kind of in Ukraine or used by the UK or other EU agencies. And then the NATO Innovation Fund kind of worked almost as a transition fund. Think about like what a StratFi or a TACFi award might do in the US. You're not a baby, but you're not yet a man. You're kind of somewhere in between. You're wandering and hoping to kind of get picked up.
It's your bar mitzvah season.
There it is. Hey, Hava Nagila. There are a couple of examples where NATO seemingly kind of incubated a little bit of funding, and maybe there's some traction going the other direction. There's a UK program that's using some, I think, of Kraken unmanned surface vessels in some exercises. There's another company called Quark, where NATO seed funding led to some Royal Navy trials. But the evidence there is really uncertain. And so I think my take right now is if I were looking at this, I would not be banking on NATO as my customer one. I would say NATO maybe is a bridger of the valley, but NATO themselves not a big end customer. Are you on the same page with me there, Ben, or what would you say?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, building new stuff is hard, right? And sure, there might be some innovation theater stuff, but that's probably the precursor to real stuff too. And so I think there are the right noises being made right now by NATO. And let's make sure it becomes a real market, that it's not just a tease, that you actually get to graduate your bar mitzvah and move on to celebrate a wedding one day.
If NATO were making a noise, what would the noise be?
And if a tree falls in the forest, well, the forest, what German forest would that be? Black Forest.
I think it's a dolphin. I'm hearing a dolphin, a dolphin click. That's what I'm hearing. I know that's what we're doing. Let's close this one out.
Noah, important question as we move from Europe to new things. Do you care about flowers?
Well, I will tell you, Ben, I like beauty. I love beautiful things. I love Sydney Sweeney's new jeans commercial.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
I love flowers. My mom loves flowers. I love my mom. I'm team flower.
The flowers are at risk, so maybe you're worried, but we found some lithium mines that are going to fuel electric cars over in Nevada, and they're going to help slow global warming. But everything's not clean. We're worried that it's going to drive this one endangered wildflower to extinction. How do you feel about the flowers of the Rylot Ridge and this high-stakes climate dilemma?
Yeah, this is a real climate conundrum because on one hand you have the people who absolutely hate oil and natural gas. They've been wanting to get off of it forever. Now you to do that, lithium matters. There's lithium ion batteries. Mining lithium is a really important part of transitioning to these other sources of energy. At the same time, if you do that, you kill off old buckwheat out there, and this rare flower, I think we got a photo of it here. We got a photo of this. There it is. Clumps of Tiam's buckwheat near the planned Rio Bridge. I can't say any of these words. I mean, honestly, that thing looks a little bit like desert mold to me, but I'm sure that is somebody's brother, son, sister, daughter. So I don't know, Ben. This is a real conundrum for the climate folk. What take have you?
Kill the flower. I say kill the flower. Listen, I am pro environment. I think we need to be careful about doing stuff. But hey, this is black and white. Like this flower's got to go. Hey, take one away to the lab for safety. Get some seeds. I don't know how that works. Get the scientists on it. But fundamentally, this is huge. Like if you want to save, like if we want to move away from natural gases, have other options. Get electric vehicles. Lithium is going to be used in so many stuff. Stop being reliant on other countries in China. We need the lithium here. It's good for the environment. This flower's got to go. I'm sorry. Your days are up.
The flower is out and the tab is closed. We're going to say goodbye, it sounds like, to this flower. Or maybe there's a hopeful techno-optimist future. Ben wants to culture this flower in a lab. We'll see it in the greenhouse. The Brooklyn Botanical Garden will have this thing before too long. And you can even maybe take a snipping home for dear mom. All right, well, Ben, speaking of taking things from out west... Now, every time I hear lithium, I'm going to think of dead flowers. While we're doing some word association, I got another one for you. Long Island. When you hear the name, the words Long Island, what do you think of?
Well, obviously tank tops. I don't know, rosé, Hampton Water. Shout out to my friends there. But good time, summer. What are you thinking of, Noah?
How about manufacturing, baby? We've got a new project. Orbic has Project Patriot. They're planning to reshore 1,000 electronics manufacturing jobs from where of all places, China, to Long Island. And they were on the Alliance for American Manufacturing's podcast this week. They're grappling with one particular issue that I thought was particularly interesting. Let's listen into what they are doing.
Many of the young professionals that want to get into these manufacturing of high-tech materials, they graduate and they come and interview for these businesses. The problem is, right here on Long Island, there is nowhere for them to live unless they're going to live with their parents. We have embarked on bringing here, specific to this innovation park, mixed-use housing, whereby a developer could come in on 7+ acres. There are 11 sites in this park, and build actual housing.
So Ben, they want to bring these jobs back. These people have no place to live. They got to build a housing because who wants to live with mom and dad while they're building their manufacturing empire? What do you think about this initiative and the fact that housing, of all things, is the limiting factor?
Yeah, this is awesome. If sucks is a limiting factor, let's figure it out. Hey, let's build it in the Hamptons. P. Diddy's white parties, obviously over now. So now we can build housing. We can build plants. $30 lobster salads, right? Only in the Hamptons. If we can build those in the Hamptons, we can also build some housing and the plants that those people are going to work in. So let's do it all. Let's bring it back to Long Island. I'm pro this.
Was P. Diddy convicted? Are they going to seize his mansion? Are they taking the mansion, turn it into housing? You put bunks in that thing. You could probably house all 1,000 workers right there. Problem solved. I like it. Abundance in the Hamptons, baby. You heard it here first. Steam Zone is doing it.
Moving a little east across the whole Atlantic Ocean, Noah, where would you wind up? France. And you want to know why we're talking about France today? There is an NBA star there. Currently based in good old Texas, San Antonio. Wembanyama, future NBA MVP. Well, because of his actions this week, he's an MVP in my heart, Noah. I am excited that NBA star Wembanyama is out as a pro-nuclear fan. Put it up on the screen.
He's a big nuclear guy. Up to you to break generational trauma. He posted this, Ben?
He liked it. He liked it. So we're not fully pilled yet, but come on. He liked a nuclear power post. This is exciting.
Well, I didn't see anything in his profile about likes don't equal endorsements. This seems like a full-throated endorsement of nuclear energy. Why might that be, Ben? Let me ask you a question. If you had to guess the country that is most dependent on nuclear energy anywhere in the world, what might you guess that country would be?
I wish it was the United States, but I know you're going to say that's not true.
No, sir. That country is France. This is a little dated at this point, over 70%. They're still right around 70% of their power is coming from nuclear energy. This is Wembayana staying true to his roots, knowing what kept the lights on in the gym. Maybe there was a little nuclear spillover in the Wembayana, town as a kid. He's like 7 foot.
Next week, investigative reporting on the steam zone.
We're going deep into Wemby's upbringing. Is he the new Mr. Nuclear? I don't know. It's the evidence. The evidence.
Call up Valor Atomics and let them know they got a new spokesman.
That's
NBA
right.
stars used to do just shoes, and now they're doing nuclear.
I think that's what we need. We got Saquon on the Andrew cap table. We need the NBA to be full in on the nuclear boys. We'd love to see it. All right. I think that'll do it on this one. We'll close that tab. All right, Ben. That's a wrap for the topics. You know what time it is. It's time to blow off some steam. Over to you.
All right, you know what I'm pissed about this week, Noah? I am pissed that I do not have a robot doing the pile of dishes that you can't see off camera, that the unfolded pile of laundry in my bedroom. I am getting teased all this stuff on Twitter. When is it coming to my apartment? Sign me up for the beta test list. I want the model that doesn't work. I want to try it. But get me some fucking products. Come on.
Who's teasing you on Twitter? Who's being mean to Ben?
You see the lamps that folded the laundry on the bed? I need that now. Stop teasing me with cool videos. Hopefully those aren't just AI generated. But come on, let's get some answers here. I need to see robots in my life, and I need them now. I don't want to do the mundane dishes anymore. Help me. Get me a robot, please.
This is a desperate cry for
My
help.
GoFundMe is listed right above.
A desperate cry for help. If you're, let's see, we got Figure, Elon and Tesla, anybody else doing humanoid robots, you've got a ready-made spokesman here in Ben Jacobson. Your robots will be all over the Steam Zone. They'll be all over his Zoom calls all week with government customers in 50 states in the Americas and beyond. Let me just put in a plug for Ben. Help Ben out. Let's get this guy a humanoid before he had combust from having to do his own laundry. All right, Ben, I'm going to talk about something a little bit more serious this week. On Monday, I was in Midtown Manhattan, right around 52nd Street. As I came out of the building that I was in, there were swarms of people, throngs of people with their cameras out as hundreds of police cars rushed towards Midtown. There were helicopters hovering over buildings, probably as many police officers as I've seen in my adult life at a specific location in Manhattan. Why? Because a crazed lunatic decided that he was going to take a rifle into a Midtown office building. He said he was in search of the NFL headquarters. It doesn't really matter what he says he was doing. He killed 4 people. Young folks, innocent folks who had done absolutely nothing to deserve this. This was not a war zone. Here's the correct response to this, right? One of them worked for Blackstone. This is a tragedy that these people's lives were lost. I don't care if you like Blackstone. I don't care if you like private equity. This is human life. It's innocent human life. We will always, and we should always, as a civilized country, lament the loss of innocent life. You want to see the wrong response, Ben? This stuff was absolutely abhorrent, okay? This is what we saw from a group of people on Twitter celebrating because she works in private equity, celebrating because they have a political view on the things that Blackstone as a company may do, celebrating the fact that she's an executive and is murdered. This is, it shouldn't surprise me. There's kind of this law of the internet that for every side of an issue, however happy you are about something, someone is pretty much as equally upset. However horrified you are at something, somebody is celebrating it. We know this is true, but seeing this still to this day propagating in our country, this isn't foreigners or anything, this is Americans celebrating the death of another innocent American. It's horrifying to me. It's never going to end, but it's why we have to, on programs like this one, we got to present logical, reasonable arguments on both sides of discourse and pathways to effect change. This is not about giving up on society, arming yourself and doing crazy shit and celebrating that. That is not what we need in this country. What we need is pathways for folks to affect the change they want to see in the world and engaging in reasonable and respectful manners with those who disagree. So I don't even know that we are a small dent in the universe, but if we can be one small droplet in a rushing wave, that would be a great honor.
All right, another great week, Noah. See you next time.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.